Hey everyone, Dr. Mike here this morning. I want to talk about something that you might have that I have also, and that's this thing we call stress. And it can come in lots of different directions, but here's the underlying fact. It comes in some form every day, actually in multiple forms every day. We've got emotional stress from, a million things. We've got chemical stress from sometimes the air we breathe, to the food we eat, to the water that we drink, and we have physical stress. Just if we decide to get out of bed in the morning, you've heard me talk about this before, we've got gravity, right? So we've got to take care of that stress and that physical stress somehow too. So if, I do, so you might also, I have trouble sometimes neutralizing this stress in the best possible ways. Let me tell you some ways that don't work very good that I've tried, okay? Sleeping too much. I remember when I was in grad school and I had big tests and everything, it's like, oh man, all I wanted to do is sleep, but I knew oversleeping didn't help my situation. It's just kind of a way to numb it. Over drinking, over eating, whatever, gossiping or something to try to make ourselves feel better. Those are all kinds of things that don't really get that stress away. It just maybe numbs it for a second. But I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but the part of our brain, we've got our brain sitting here, we've got the spinal cord. One thing we need to realize is we've got billions of little messages coming to our brain from our senses, and they're sensing that stress. The back part of the brain is the stress and survival part of the brain. The front part is the growth and healing part. And again, I don't want to get into it too much, but I will tell you, if we don't neutralize that stress, the brain gets unbalanced, okay? In fact, what happens is we start operating mostly from the back part, or they say the reptilian part of the brain, not as much from the front part, and so the brain gets unbalanced. Well, when the brain is unbalanced, the body is definitely unbalanced. And so if we're unbalanced here, we're going to be unbalanced somewhere down here. When the body is unbalanced, we're always going to have some sort of damage. That makes sense, right? We've talked about this before, whether it's your body or your lawnmower. If there's some unbalance, you're going to have damage. And we also have weakness. We've talked about this in previous videos too, the weakness aspect. When we have that damage and weakness, we're also going to get some degeneration. Okay, let's go through this and then I'm going to come back. After degeneration, we get symptoms. After symptoms, we have disability. After disability, we're finally dead. Okay, here's the deal. When we talk about stress, or we talk about any aspects of life, let's talk about this. Stress gets the brain unbalanced. Well, when the brain's unbalanced, we have even more emotional stress. So let's take eating, for example. We don't really want to make the good choices eating, so then we have imbalance in the body or maybe the gut. We have damage and weakness from what we're eating. We have degeneration to our organ functions, and then we finally have symptoms. That symptoms could be irritable bowel. That symptoms could be, being overweight and those sorts of things. If we have emotional stress, again, the brain's unbalanced. Emotionally, we feel our body not working very good. We have, again, damage can be structural. It can be to the brain, degeneration, symptoms, disability. We can have it in our exercise. Say we're not exercising, so we don't have the brain, the body. You can put anything in here. This works for everything. Say we're not taking care of the structure, we're not getting adjusted. We have brain unbalance, body unbalance, damage, weakness. Those are some of the things that we work with here in the office. But what I want to get at is most of the time, we don't take action on any of those situations until there's symptoms. And based on how you deal with these symptoms is going to determine whether that stress continues to wreak havoc in your life. Because if we just take a medication right down here and we never get at any of this stress, neutralizing this stress or getting rid of these imbalances, I work with tons of people that I only see when they're hurting. Well, the hard part is this degeneration, this damage and weakness is still happening to get to that symptom part. And if we only treat the symptoms, again, then we're going to go actually faster into disability and faster into actually, it can really have my Lord, it can really have a detrimental effect on even our lifespan. So the long and short of this whole thing is we can't look just down at the symptoms all the time. We've got to say, hey, what are the stresses in our lives? What are some of the good things that we can do, the good choices that we can make to neutralize this stress on a regular basis and not get so tired of taking care of the things that we need to take care of? Hey man, there's a ton of things that I would rather do than work out, but I don't want to deal with the consequences of not working out. Does that make sense? There's a ton of things that I'd rather eat, and sometimes I do, but there's a ton of things I'd rather eat than eating the right things, but I don't want to deal with those consequences. They can be very costly and shut my life down. I don't always want to do my Bible study and my mental preparation for the day. But again, I don't want to deal with the consequences of not doing it. I have tons of people that get adjusted on a regular basis. Is that the most favorite thing in their life? I don't know. I love getting adjusted, but here's the thing. Even if it's kind of a pain in the butt, we don't want to deal with the consequences of not doing that. You can say that for brushing your teeth. You can say it for many different things. And I know this video is a little long, but when we do the right things, number one, we feel great about ourselves, and number two, we don't have to deal with the consequences of this whole cascade system and deal with this stuff over and over. If you need help looking at some better ways to neutralize stress, give us a call, let me know, and we'd be glad to help you. We love you guys. Have a great day.